Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. So this week I'm going to show you guys how I created this pink, white, and gold themed paper flower backdrop. And for this backdrop I used two types of flowers, template 1 and template 2, which are downloadable in the description box below. Now let's get started, and I'm going to show you the first kind of flower that I made. So this is template 1. We're going to use this to make the first kind of flower, and the petal sizes here are XL, large, medium, small, and extra small. So I'm going to show you guys how I created the medium size flower. For that we're just going to use the large, medium, small, and extra small petals, but if you want to make a larger size flower, I have included the extra large petals as well. So first you want to start out by tracing your templates on pink cardstock paper and cutting out 6 of the large petal templates, 6 medium, 6 small, and 6 of the extra small. So I got a lot of questions about the type of cardstock paper I use. The weight, it just says heavy weight on it, and I buy all my cardstock paper from Hobby Lobby. So first off, you're just going to take your petal and curl the right side of the petal away from you, curl it backwards, just using your hands, and curl the left side of the petal towards you. So this part can be a little time consuming, so what I did was I just grabbed the full stack of 6 petals and I curled them all at the same time, and this just saved me a lot of time and it looked exactly the same. So don't waste your time doing each petal by itself, just curl them all together. So once all the petals have been curled, you're gonna cut slits down the center of the petals. So start at the base, and once again I'm saving time by cutting all 6 petals at the same time, so don't cut each one at a time, just cut the full stack together. Cut a slit from the base almost to the center of each of the petals. So next, from the base where you just cut those slits, take one half of the petal and lightly fold it to the other half and glue it down. Next, repeat that step for all your petals and your sizes until they look like this. Next, just cut out a scrap sheet of cardstock paper to provide as the base for your flower. So now I'm just going to evenly glue down my 6 large flowers to the base. Then in between each of the large petals, I'm going to glue one of the medium petals. So once again, inside each of the medium petals, like between each of the medium petals, you're going to glue one of the small petals, and then the final layer inside, which is the extra small, you're going to glue each of the extra small petals in between each of the small petals. Next, to make the flower overall more sturdy, I glued the outermost layer of petals together, just in the middle, so they were one cohesive piece. So next, to create the center bud of the flower, I took one cream sheet of cardstock paper, I cut it down the center to cut it in half, and then I folded one of the pieces in half, and on the inside seam, the folded seam, I cut tiny little slits along the inside folded seam, and then you're going to do this twice so that you have 2 sheets like this. Next, you're going to add glue to the side that doesn't have the slits cut on it, and then you're going to roll that flower bud in on itself until it forms like this little ball, and then you're going to add glue to the other sheet that you made and add this small initial bud that you made into that, and then roll both of them together to form a giant center bud for the flower. So next, just open up the flower bud with your hands, so just spread it so that it has a little bit of volume and it looks bigger. So at this point I did just put the center bud in the flower, but I didn't glue it yet because I am going to spray paint this gold before I glue it to the flower, so just set it aside for now. So on the back of the flower, I added a piece of ribbon. I just glued it on and put a scrap piece of cardstock paper on top, because this is what I'm going to use to hang the flowers later. So a lot of you asked me how many sheets it takes to make one of these flowers. So for this medium flower that I just made, I used 9 sheets of pink cardstock paper, size 8.5 by 11. So here is a large size flower that I made using this exact same template. It's template 1, except I added 8 of the extra large size petals to the outer border, and then 6 large petals, 6 medium petals, 6 small, and then 6 of the extra small. And then for this, I used a total of 19 sheets of cardstock paper to make this size flower. Once again, the size was 8.5 by 11. For the center bud of this flower, I just got beads from the Dollar Tree, super inexpensive. They were already gold, and I just glued them with my glue gun in the center. So here is another flower I made using this exact same template. I haven't glued the center bud in yet because, like I said earlier, I'm going to spray paint that gold before I glue it down. So the only difference between this and the previous flower that I showed you is that I'm curling these petals back. Like in the earlier flower, I curled one side of the petal away from you and then one side towards you. So I just wanted a little diversity. So because of that, I just curled all the petals back to make this flower. That was the only difference. Also, when I started making this flower, I actually wanted to make a large size flower, but I didn't have enough sheets. I only had 16 sheets of red cardstock paper. I had used the rest in another project. So you know that I showed you previously the white flower that requires 19 sheets of cardstock paper to make that. So because of that, I used less petals in this red flower. I used 8 of the extra large petals. I made 5 large petals, 5 medium petals, and 6 extra small petals. So I didn't put any small petals in this flower. So because of that, I only used 16 sheets. So here is the last flower I made using template 1. I used this like baby pink cardstock paper. And for this, I made 7 of the large petals, 6 medium petals, 6 small petals, and 6 of the extra small petals. So I used a total of 10 sheets, cardstock sheets, to create this size flower. Similar to the red flower, I curled all of these petals back in one direction away from you. So it's not like the first 2 flowers where I curled one side in and one side out. I just curled all the sides back away from you. So now I'm going to show you guys the next set of 4 flowers that I made using template number 2. You can download it in the description box below. So I'm going to show you how I made a medium sized flower using the large, medium, small, and extra small petal sizes, but I've included once again the extra large petal size to make a larger size flower as well. So here's the cardstock paper. I buy it all from Hobby Lobby. It just says heavyweight on it. I would not recommend using this type of paper. This paper was really thick. It was hard to work with. I just accidentally bought it and then I didn't want to waste it, so I ended up using all of this. But if I was to go out and buy it again, I would buy more lightweight paper, not something thicker than, I guess, printing paper, but not this heavy heavy cardstock paper. You don't need this to make these type of flowers. It just takes a lot of time when you're cutting them and tracing them out. It just takes a lot more time to cut out this thick cardstock paper. So I would definitely recommend you buying thinner cardstock paper than what I did here. So next I just traced out my template on this I guess purple pinkish cardstock paper that I purchased, and I cut out 6 large petals, 6 medium petals, 6 small, and then 6 of the extra small. So next just take 1 petal and fold it in half vertically, straight down the center. So the different sizes of the petals should look like this when they're all folded. Next, you're gonna curl each side of the folded half back away from you. So each half of the petal, you're just gonna curl it away from you. And once again, I curled all the petals in a stack. So 6 petals together, I just curled them back using my hands. Once all the petals are curled, you're gonna cut slits down from the base of the petal to about midway up the petal once again. And so I did this as a group as well to save time. I didn't individually cut them. So as a stack, just cut a slit from the base almost to the center of each of the petals. So next you're going to take one of the flaps at the base and fold it on top of the other flap and glue it down. So once all your petals are made, you're just going to cut a scrap piece of cardstock paper that's going to provide the base for your flower. Next, just evenly glue the 6 large petals to the base. So in between each of the large petals, you're gonna glue one medium-sized petal. So what happened here is that I was looking at this flower from an angle and not right on top of it. So what I ended up doing, as you can see here, is gluing the medium petals a little offset. It's off center. So just make sure when you're making your flower, you're looking at the flower directly from on top when you're gluing down the petals so that your flower ends up being symmetrical. So in between each of the large petals, I glued one of the medium petals, and then after all 6 medium petals were glued down, I glued a small petal in between each of the medium, and of course the last layer was the extra small petal, and just glue that in between each of the small petals. So to finish off the flower, I got this cute pack of beads from the Dollar Tree. It was a 5-pack, and the top 3 little baggies had all gold beads in them. So you can just go to Dollar Tree and grab this, and I just put glue in the center of the flower and then just sprinkle these on. Similar to the other flowers, I glued ribbon to the back just because that's what I'm going to use to hang these flowers later. So to create this flower, I ended up using 9 sheets of cardstock paper, the 8.5 by 11 inch paper. So here is another flower I made using the exact same template. This one only required 8 sheets of cardstock paper, and you'll notice that's because it has the same number of large petals, 6 large petals, 6 medium petals, 6 small petals, but the innermost layer only has the 4 extra small petals, and in the previous flower I used 6. So this one only has 4, so because of that I ended up using 1 less sheet. So this one only required 8 sheets. The center bud, once again, I just used those same dollar store beads from the same packet. I just used a different color. So here is another flower I made using this exact same template. This is a larger size flower, so I actually used 17 sheets, I think. Yeah, 17 sheets to make this flower. So for this flower, I used 8 of the extra large petal sizes, 6 large, 6 medium, 6 small, and 6 of the extra small to create this. Once again, for the center, I just used those same dollar store beads. And lastly, I made this white flower. This is the same size as the previous flower, so I used 17 sheets to make this flower. Once again, 8 of the extra large petals, 6 large petals, 6 medium, 6 small, and then 6 of the extra small. And then the center bud I made using that same cream cardstock paper that I did with the earlier flowers, and I haven't glued it in yet because I'm going to show you guys next how I spray painted all the center buds gold, along with a few of the flowers. So next I brought all the center buds and all my flowers to my garage, and I was about to spray paint them. So the brand I use is this Rust-Oleum gold, what is it, paint and primer in one. So this brand has really worked great for me. All spray paints are not the same. I bought a different brand last time and it did not transfer well on cardstock paper at all. So this converts beautifully on cardstock paper, so I would highly recommend, if you plan on painting paper like I did, buy this brand. It works beautifully. So there's no special technique to this. I just spray painted all the center buds. And then for the flowers, I didn't want to just spray the flowers. I wanted like there to be blotches or like big spots of paint. So what I did was hold the can, like the button, I just pressed it more heavily on one side until there was like droplets of paint falling from it, and then that's how I got these. So I don't know, just practice a bit, I guess, on like something else before you actually paint your flowers. If you're also going to do this, then practice on like cardboard or whatever until you get the paint to look how you want it, and then do it on your flowers. I just painted the edges of the red flower gold just to give it a little bit of a gold tint. So for the background portion of this backdrop, I've shown how to do this in a few other videos. I have them linked in the description box below, how to create this. I'm not going to show it again. I just used 2 rolls of pink streamer and 2 rolls of white streamer to create this backdrop, and I bought those streamers from Walmart. They are they have more roll in them than the Dollar Tree brand, so I bought it from Walmart. To hold the backdrop up, I did use thumbtacks because it was actually pretty heavy. Next, to hang the flowers, I taped most of them up to the wall, but a few of them kept falling, so I just put a thumbtack where you couldn't really see it, like on the inside of the flower, and then I just thumbtacked it to the wall, and then they weren't falling anymore. So I didn't do this for all the flowers, only the ones that were super heavy, I guess because of the beads, and they kept falling, so I only did it for a few of them. And that's it. So I think this backdrop turned out beautiful. You guys let me know what you think. I didn't have time to make more. Of course, if you make more flowers, they look even more beautiful, but let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you see all my latest tutorials. And I will see you guys in my next week's video, God willing. Bye.